Thank you. Honorable ministers, party leaders, my fellow party members, I'm glad for the opportunity to address you at this historic juncture in our nation and our party's history. I am Arthur Kovna Kennedy, and I'm running for president. Today, however, I want to talk to you about our party rather than my candidacy. When Her Excellency Ms. Addo was speaking, he talked about the importance of women and encouraged the candidates and all of us to pay attention to women. I know who Ms. Addo is going to support and vote for, because on the 6th of April in Ghana, during a press conference, I pledged that when elected president, I will put into office more qualified women than at any other time. Let me go to my senior brother and my inspiration, Mr. Appiah Minka, and commend him for an excellent speech. I have listened to him a lot of times, but as he spoke, I was taking notes. He reminds me of another great party leader who unfortunately is no longer with us, late Ajenim Boateng, who was once our General Secretary. And one of the reasons why I'm running is Mr. Ajenim Boateng. The last night before I left for exile, in trouble for the third time in my academic career, he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Young man, I know you have suffered for this nation, and you are living. There are a lot of people who will live in your circumstances and never look back. And even if they look back, they will look back to send their family some money or occasionally to write proposals. But remember why you are living. You are living because you care about this nation. Go and learn from the white man's ways about the best ways to build a nation, and then when you are ready, come back and help. The time is now." Mr. Appiah Minka said that our flag bearer ought to be charismatic. He said he ought to be able to appeal to women and the youth. And when he said that, I said, well, of course. He also talked about what our party has done. Our party indeed has chalked historic achievements. We have made education at the elementary level free and provided meals. We have introduced a national health insurance scheme over the opposition of the NDs. We have built roads and introduced water, just like the chairman said about Tamale. We have brought historic levels of freedom into our nation. We have built our economy far more than any other government in history. Therefore, by all accounts, we ought to be cruising to re-election in 2008. But you and I know that ain't so. The question is why. There are historic precedents of governments doing well and still losing elections. My brother Boakye quoted eloquently from Churchill. 1945, come with me. Mr. Churchill was perceived to be perhaps the greatest British Prime Minister ever. He had led Britain through its most severe challenge in its history. And yet, a few months later, his party was booted out of power. And in came a new Prime Minister, Mr. Addo. Let me give you another example. Right in our own country, 2004, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor and his government thought they had done historic things for Ghana. They were cruising to a re-election that would give them a big mandate. As historians say, governments must not initiate great things on slender majorities. They were looking for the kind of majorities that would let them initiate great things. and the public delivered them a rebuke. Instead of the 55% or so we won in the runoff in 2000, we barely made 52%. They were sending us a message. Let me take you to Canada. Brian Mulroney, who incidentally had never held public office when he was elected, had led the Progressive Conservative Party to their first back-to-back majority governments in Canadian history. At the next election, their majorities were reduced to 2. I have said all these things to let us know that we can indeed perform very well in government and still lose elections. The reason is that whether your reputation is deserved or not, it is what the people perceive that will determine how they vote. In politics, as everybody knows, perception is reality. While a lot of people dwell on our problems with the public and its reluctance to continue supporting us, I think we have a bigger problem, and that problem is our foot soldiers. There are a lot of people who have toiled in the wilderness, who refused to do stomach politics, who stood firm against the blandishments of the NDC as well as their intimidation. And we are now in power, and their lives have not changed. Those people are not happy. But I fear that some of our party leaders are whistling past the graveyard. They are behaving like proverbial ostriches with their head buried in the sand. I have heard people say our supporters have nowhere to go. Our nation cannot afford the NDC, so in the end, they will do the right thing and come back home. But Asawase and Ododo has shown us that people can stay home. We lost Asawase and Ododo not because our supporters abandoned us, but because they stayed home. If we do not bring them out to vote, we shall see in the general elections of 2008 the same things that we saw in Asawase and Ododo. We need to be humble and to take the warnings that the public keeps giving us seriously, because otherwise we shall wake up one day and find out that because we did not respond, we have lost power. It is not enough to be a good government. We need to let the people feel in their ordinary lives what is it that we are doing. It is not enough to talk about macroeconomic growth. It is not enough to go around the country telling people how America and Britain and other countries feel our government is doing. In the end, the judgment of our governments will be made on the barrios of Abuja and on the streets of Accra. Therefore, let me propose some measures that, in my judgment, would help our party to reconnect to the public. First, I believe that our party must make good its pledge to the nation that it delivered in passing ROPAP by making sure not only that all Ghanaians vote in 2008 who live abroad, but also ensure that all party members in good standing in the NPP vote in the 2008 primary. Yes! This will demonstrate our commitment to deepen our democratic culture and also help us overcome the incipient problem of corrupting of our democratic process. 2, we should require the President and senior cabinet officers to visit party headquarters at least twice per month and thus be accessible to ordinary party members by appointment. 3, we should institutionalize genuine and respectful consultation of the party in the making of appointments and the initiation